Speak of the devil.
Hey.
We got Keith Makse here.
So yeah, Keith is my new tenant.
Well, just explain that. So, are you living here, Keith, or what's going on?
No, I'm not living here at all. So easily, what I've been doing with Alex a little bit is I run short-term rentals. So Alex reached out and said, "Hey, this is a great little property. Are you interested?" And it's like, sure. We ran some numbers together, and we realized that it actually made more sense for me to rent it from him than for me to try to manage it on his behalf. So I'm now the tenant. I'm paying the rent, I'm paying the hydro, and I control the guests who are coming in and out of here.
So do you control like the entire experience in terms of, you know, even the layout and the theme of what we've got here?
Yeah, so totally. Like all the furniture in here, I actually had worked with a designer and we came up with this cool 1970s California vibe that goes along with everything. So we have all these like wicker chairs, rattan carpet, leather sofa, and everything's very natural and wood based, and it just looks really cool. So anyway, going back to it, we're looking at how we can best maximize the space. And I mean, for a bachelor apartment, this is the biggest, most spacious bachelor apartment I've ever been in. So it's just a great experience for anybody to come in. You have a full set of appliances, you have this great countertop. You know, we can actually have people sleeping on the bed and on the sofa, so you can have up to 3 people in here. Yeah. Sometimes in a bachelor, it feels like you can only have one person, so this is a great space. And then the size of the height of the ceilings and the shiplap on the ceiling there just ties everything all together.
This was a single car garage?
I guess it's size for a double car garage, but it has a single car door, so you could kind of only pull one car in here.
Because it feels very spacious in here.
Yeah, so the gentleman that built this garage was, you know, into cars and working on cars, so he had all kinds of dust collector, and that where that window is, that used to be a dust collector, so we replaced it with the window. There was a lot of infrastructure here, hoists and that kind of thing for him to be able to work on cars. But yeah, it's just shy of 500 square feet. I think there it was 500 square feet. By the time we trimmed it in, we probably lost a little bit, but that's roughly about the size of it.
And then Keith, like this model that you're doing here with Alex, is this something that you do for others, or explain a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so I operate in 2 ways, essentially. Number one, I come in, I'll act as the tenant. I put in all of the furniture, I do all the design, I take over and just pay rent and make it super easy. So if any investor is looking at getting a tenant in, I'm the one who actually shows up. I'm paying the rent, and unlike a traditional tenant, they only have one source of income usually. I got one from every single person who's coming in through the door. So it's very easy for me to pay that rent. And I have a lot of different ways to get those people, like through other platforms. So a lot of people think of short-term rentals as Airbnb, but there's plenty of other platforms, VRBO, Booking.com, TripAdvisor, Expedia. There's so many little ones out there, and just capitalizing on a lot of those is the best way to go. And then the other way that I work is through management. So I'm actually managing another property here in Hamilton where I do it on behalf of the host, or they're the host and I'm the co-host, but I do all the work and make it easier. And then that way they can capitalize a little bit more on that cash flow and making sure that all of the bills are being paid, and they actually make a little bit more, which helps again with investors. For instance, there's another investor again here in Hamilton that I'm working with where they bought a property back in the spring. They did all kinds of work on it, and then the market shifted, right? The prices dropped. Well, what's the best way for them to actually hold on to it? They have me manage it for them. So they're able to get the cash flow that's able to cover private mortgages and other costly tools, financial tools, in order to get that property in the first place. And then they can, get by, they make a little bit of a profit on the door, and I operate for them on their behalf.
Do you only do Hamilton, or do you do other areas as well?
I'm in everywhere in Ontario right now. Kitchener-Waterloo is a big place for me. I'm as far as Windsor. I'm taking on a couple of projects in Barrie, Wasaga Beach. I actually have a duplex out in Calgary. I've operated as far as Antigua, so the island down in the Caribbean, and I'm now looking at some projects in Tennessee.
Wow, so just really is starting to expand the empire there.
Yeah, exactly. And out of all of these, we're looking into the double digits coming up, like north of 25 for sure, probably around 35, and in a very short span of time. And I only own one.
Wow. What's it like, Alex, from your side, getting a chance to work with someone like Keith in a situation like this, from a short-term rental perspective? Like, how does that just help make your life easier?
So it's very interesting in that Keith touched on two strategies here with regards to short-term rentals. The one where he's the tenant and he's arbitraging it, or the one where he's managing it. And that's the decision on which way to go is strategic based on a number of factors, on what the agreement is, like the actual owner. Is there multiple owners? Is it joint venture partnership? So that's not something that we can get into. It's a case-by-case basis. But one thing that I do very much enjoy, and the balance that we've struck, is when you take a place that you renovate top to bottom, you put a lot of emphasis on quality and the finishing touches. He comes in with a strategic eye on how to design it, what the layout should be. So I consult with him right from the beginning. I work with him to identify, hey man, can I short-term rent this? What can I expect? What finishes do I want to get to for this particular neighborhood? So he provides me with that feedback. So that's part of my power team as an exit strategy to a flip or a conversion project. Even if I'm doing a conversion project, I may decide to go the short-term route or the other way around. So I work with him from the beginning. But once it's all said and done, something like this, again, newly renovated with a lot of emphasis on the finishing touches, I think, and Keith can confirm this, that he can then demand a far higher price per night, and we can achieve our projected profits with a much lower occupancy rate. So that to me is valuable. I'd rather do that than have this place full. I don't want it full. I mean, if there is more people, but we can set the price high, and if it ends up being only 50% occupied, but we're still getting our cash flow, I'm okay with that. So I think that's been the value that we've been able to kind of put together, or the value that he brings to the table.
Like, we really don't, I'm not really in the Hamilton circles all that much, and we do go to some of the same networking events, but at the same time it was council that really brought us together, where we met, and we've known each other for about a year and a half, almost 2 years.
Yep.
And just over the time, that relationship is, we both figured out our strategies, our lanes, what we actually do, what our strengths that we bring to the table, and we realized how we can actually leverage to support each other.
Yeah, it's funny because it isn't just the fact that we both enjoy Scotch, but it was really aligning what we bring to the table. I don't have an eye for these things. Like, to me,
he really doesn't. I'll tell you, he wanted the bed right there instead of around the corner, and we fought over this for a while. And then I had to pull out I'm the tenant. You don't have nothing to say.
I've done this before, where I didn't listen to the advice that my real estate agent had given me at the time, and it ended up basically having to swap out a fridge because it wasn't counter depth when she insisted it should be. So I've learned, I've expanded, I've learned to listen to this. I can renovate, but any staging, any color, any choices on finishing touches, I delegate that to people that know what they're doing.
Well, it's important to lean on the expertise of other people, and you talked about having a power team, right? There's power team just having allies that you're both real estate investors, but you both have different specialties, and it's powerful when you come together.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think just this creates sort of that synergy, right? Like, you can have a great little investment property, and now you have an investment property that can really be fully utilized and maximized in terms of the revenue potential.
Yeah. And now you've done multiple deals together, right? Where you have this opportunity to kind of partner like you're doing here, and then hey, next time around you start to think like, hey, maybe this could be another Airbnb situation or some sort of short-term rental. Hey, Keith, he's my call. Because you already got that established relationship.
It literally has become an exit strategy. Like, it's definitely on any project that I evaluate. I always want to know, like, I take input from the real estate agent on, okay, what am I buying it at? What can I sell it at? What else can I do? If I duplex it, okay, what are the rents? Still, real estate agent. Okay, that's that. Now let's move into the short, medium-term rentals. Keith, check out this property. This is what I plan on doing to it. he knows what he can expect from the finishing touches, having seen all the other projects. So you know, he can evaluate Air DNA and provide some feedback on that end, and then up or down based on.
Well, and just to speak to that, it's Air DNA Plus. We actually do our own deep dive analysis on every property. So we're actually looking at more than just numbers. It's what's the neighborhood? What's actually around it? What's the draw and attraction that's going to bring the guests here, and who are the guests that we want to bring here? So we have to be very strategic in our marketing and listing description, or to get those traveling executives, or to get couples who want to have a cool place for an anniversary weekend getaway.
It's just not as simple as just get a property and that's it. Like there's a lot that goes into it, a lot of due diligence, a lot of thinking, planning, being strategic.
Yeah, and that's where Alex gets to rely on me, because I provide that for him, and he doesn't have to think.
I'd rather mass produce units, or focus on acquisitions of properties and renovation side. There are a lot of real estate investors that will do one at a time, and then they'll take on the rental portion on their own. I haven't, even on my long-term rentals, I don't do that. I don't vet the tenants anymore myself. I outsource that as well. So it makes sense to do this with people that do this full time. That's their business model, is the furnished rental. I don't even want to call them short-term rentals anymore. There could be short and medium term,
right,
the furnished rentals. So why not work with the best instead of me trying to do it while I'm managing a bunch of construction projects? I nearly went down that path and I hated it. So that's when I'm like, okay, who can I work with? And it led to this partnership.
That's awesome. So you've got this kind of amazing partnership that you've been able to do together. How do other people work with you who are real estate investors, or really who are the people that you're trying to help and support with your business?
That's an excellent question. So really, I'm supporting any real estate investor, any landlord out there, anybody who's actually holding a property and they want to get either the best last tenant they'll ever have, me, or they're also going to be looking at maximizing their revenue on that property. And working within, there are a number of regulations and bylaws, and having somebody who's familiar with how to look them up, review them, work with them, I don't want to say around them, but there are different strategies on making sure that you're actually compliant. And then at the end of the day, anybody who really needs to take that property and make the best thing happen to it, I'm there for you. So they can get a hold of me through on Instagram at Airbnb Keith, or they can connect with me on Facebook, and through my website they can connect with me on garnetwpm.com.
Awesome. So you heard it here, right? Like if you are looking for support in this area, this is the guy that you want to talk to. Airbnb Keith on Instagram. He is the guy to connect with. So then, Alex, you talked about the partnerships you've got with Keith and how you're helping other investors. Can you speak a little bit more about that, like how you're helping other investors? Who ultimately are the people that you help and you support?
Anyone that's looking at building generational wealth using real estate investments. Anyone that appreciates and understands there's value in real estate investments, but they're not comfortable to where to start. What deal do I buy? Who do I work with? I'm afraid of working with general contractors. I'm afraid of working with the wrong contractor. I've done that. I've gone through those pains. I'm at the point where I built a team that I rely heavily upon, and it's growing on a regular basis. And I'm happy to leverage that to joint venture partner on these projects in order to build generational wealth.
So you're essentially helping those who want to get into real estate investing or to generate any sort of returns and profit by working with you and your company, really.
Correct. I am the active partner in most of these investment opportunities. I'm the active partner. I'm responsible to identify the opportunity, to bring the deal to the table, bring the people that can execute on it. And it's generally capital that joint venture partner would be bringing to the table. This is the silent aspect of it, the hands off. I have capital to invest in real estate investment. Who do I partner with?
So if someone is interested in partnering with you and being that kind of silent partner you talked about, how do they best get in contact with you?
Hey, social media, Instagram, Hammercity REI, or my website. There's a fair bit of content there. They can get an opportunity to see some of the examples, and that's the best way to reach me.
And what's the website name?
HammercityREI.com.
You've heard it here. If you are looking for support, you're looking to dive into this and actually be a partner with Alex, you either Hammercity REI on social media or HammercityREI.com to learn more information to actually work with Alex for a beautiful property like this.
Chris, I just want to say thank you. Thanks for coming down to check out our project, man, and much appreciate all your support in this process.
Thanks for having me down here again. Beautiful property.
My pleasure.